ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी कृष्णांसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय विष्णुपदे भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामे नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रसारणे निर्विशेष कृपादमहं वन्दे श्री गुरुं दीनदयालं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरं ओम तत्सत्। हरे कृष्ण। So, thank you for coming. So, we'll continue our journey on the nectar of instruction, the beautiful pearls of wisdom, the guiding principles for the sadhaka on his onward journey. These are like sutras which we should always remember. Sutras are very concise statements which carry a very deep import and should be always kept in mind as guiding principles in our path. So we discussed almost 5 verses so far. So we discussed the 5 verses and we ended last week with the verse discussing the do's, the don'ts and the catalyst. Remember? Yes? उत्साहात् निश्चयात् धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात् सतोवृत्तेः षड्भिर्भक्ति improves or deteriorates. Okay. So there are 6 do's and 6 don'ts. So utsahat, nishya, these are all positive. One should be enthusiastic. Shadbir bhakti prasiddhyati, bhakti develops. And then what are the negatives? Atyahara prayasascha, prajalpo niyamagraha, janasangascha laulyascha, shadbir bhakti vinashyati. So bhakti is destroyed by 6 things. Consuming more than necessary, which includes eating. Prayas, working too hard for material things. Prayasascha prajalpa, unnecessary talk. Niyamagraha, either agraha or agraha. Agraha means not accepting rules, and agraha means just accepting rules just for the purpose of doing, but not for the real, not for actually the purpose of spiritual advancement. Some people do vrat. So somebody will ask them, why are you doing vrat? Oh, because my family does the vrat. I do the vrat. So that is nicer than not doing, but if your motive in your sadhana is not pleasing the Lord, then you are going to be very slow spiritual progress. Especially on the path of bhakti, the primary consideration for the sadhaka, the sadhana bhaktas, is whatever activities I am doing in devotional service is my motivation to please the Lord. Even if the quality of the activity may not be perfect, what is the quality of my motivation? Because at the end of the day, Krishna is not impressed by our display of heroism. Krishna is pleased by the purity of our motivation. Yes? That's what attracts Krishna. Why was Lord Ramchandra attracted to Shabari? Was it that she had the best bear fruit in town? No. He was attracted to her simple-hearted devotion, where her intense desire was to give the best to the Lord. Yes? Externally it was such a simple activity. If you deeply analyze it, you will see that actually it is so easy to purchase the Lord. Yes? So easy to purchase the Lord. Actually, Shabari is a very excellent example of the six good qualities. Yeah, because she really had Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya. Utsaha, she was very enthusiastic. How was she enthusiastic? Was she enthusiastic? Everybody knows Shabari's pastime, right? You know Shabari's story, right? You don't know. The one who would taste the berries, whether they are sweet or sour, and then she would give to Lord Ram. You know the story, right? Little bit. Yeah. So the story is that her spiritual master had told her that one day Lord Ram will come, so you'll be ready to receive him. But he didn't tell the date. Okay, so there was an event for which there was no date. But because the Guru had told her and she had so much faith, she wanted to be prepared to receive the guest every day. So every day without fail, she would clean the place, make nice preparations, pluck the berries and wait enthusiastically when Ram is coming. But then Ram would not come. Okay. But she never lost her patience, nor her enthusiasm, nor her confidence. Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya. But she continued to do tat karma pravartanat. She continued to diligently follow the instructions of her spiritual master, which was be ready to serve him. Always chant his name. She used to do two things: chant the name of the Lord and wait to serve him. So every day she would do the same thing. Tat karma pravartanat. Whatever your Guru has instructed you as sadhana, do it regularly. So she would do her Naam Japa and she would every day wait for Lord Ram. Never becoming despondent or giving up hope. This went on from her early teenage years to a ripe old age. Not for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. From her early teen years, because her Guru, Matanga Rishi, right? I think so. Matanga Rishi, he went back home back to Godhead. Before going back home back to Godhead, this is the instruction he gave her. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ram Chandra will come, and that will be the perfection of your life. Wait for him, prepare to receive him, and continue to enthusiastically chant the holy names. He left. She was in the ashram. Every day diligently following. Tat karma pravartanat. Sangatyagat. Giving up any materialistic association. Staying in the ashram. Faithfully following the instruction. Sato vrittehe. Following the instructions of our spiritual master. And the previous acharyas. Such a wonderful example she is. Never losing enthusiasm. So let's assume she started this process at the age of 16. She was ripe old age. So I don't know at that time how long she lived. But let's even assume a Kali Yuga age of 100 years. A ripe old age, something like 76, 86. So at least around 70 years, 60 to 70 years, every day she was doing this without fail, without losing enthusiasm and without feeling, my Guru, I don't know whether he was in his right frame of mind when he told this. 60 years, man, still no Ram. I better pack up and go on holiday. She never took holiday. She doesn't know which day she'll go holiday, that day only Lord Ram will come. Okay, so no holiday, nothing. Yeah. She's actually such a wonderful, sweet example actually. Very inspiring. Very inspiring. Amazing personality. Hare Krishna, please come. So very wonderful. See, these are the examples you should cherish. And if you see, it was not that she had to, like Hanuman, go and lift mountains, jump across the ocean, fight against Ravan. She didn't have to do anything like that. Nor was that her capacity. So Lord Ram didn't expect. Lord Ram was just interested in the quality of her motivation, the intense desire to please Ram. And sometimes in the initial stages of devotional service, sometimes because you are not so advanced and attached to the Lord, we may not have an intense desire to please the Lord because we don't have that intense attachment. Correct? So sometimes we feel how to artificially develop that. At our stage of sadhaka, the intense desire to follow the instructions of the spiritual master is as good as an intense desire to please the Lord. You understand? You understand? So whatever instructions we are getting from Bhagavad Gita, it is coming from the acharyas, if we strictly try to follow, or even if we say not strictly, even if we make a full proper endeavor to follow, if I say strictly, then we may wonder whether I can actually follow strictly or not. That also is a question. At least we are making a sincere endeavor to follow, with the intention of pleasing the Lord and the spiritual master. That is as good as wanting to please the Lord. Yes, intensely, at our level. So that motivation is very, very important. So the Lord can be easily purchased when one has no ulterior motivation. When one is actually engaging in the process of devotional service with a genuine desire to please the Lord, develop a relationship with Him, and experience the rasa of serving Him. That is what actually the devotee is looking for. In his heart, he is aspiring to taste the nectar of seva. In this world, nobody likes to think of themselves as sevaka. So he said, oh, I got a job. What job did I get? I got a job of a servant. Nobody will tell proudly, no? Yeah. That's why nowadays, in the West also, people camouflage their job description to make it sound a bit more. So it's no longer a cleaner. It is what do you call it? The cleaner is called hygiene in charge. So there are always people think of themselves lowly if somebody calls them as a servant, an attendant. Of late, it is also not considered fashionable to call somebody a waiter. Of course, there is a particular sentiment behind it, and that sentiment itself is not wrong. But the way we are trying to fix the problem is wrong. So, in the material world, nobody likes to be a servant because people think that servant and master relationship is always a relationship where there is exploiter and exploited. One person who enjoys at the cost of another. So, it's usually not considered a pleasant relationship. Yeah. So, in this world, to make somebody your servant so that he endures that pain of serving you or me or for anyone for that matter, you have to pay. You have to give him a remuneration for rendering the seva. Correct? How many of us love our jobs and our bosses? Nobody, right? I hope my boss is not seeing this. Boss, I love you very much. So, the point is, those who say that they love their job and their bosses, you can please pass your salaries to me. We will use it in Krishna's service. Let us see how long your love continues. So, the real symptom of love is when there is no expectation in return, where you are actually finding pleasure in the service itself. It's not about what you get from the service. You understand? So in this material world, that is practically absent. And even when we do some service to somebody in any relationship, usually there is an expectation. I will do this for you, either you remunerate me or you do something else in return. That is why this one we always talk about, oh, I did this for you, but you treated me like this. Isn't it? Even in relationships, even in family. Because that is the conditioned mind's thinking. And why we think like that? Because generally, in most cases, not always, in most cases, because of a selfish motivation, serving somebody is actually a pain. It's an inconvenience. It's a distraction from bringing pleasure to oneself. In some cases, where there is some amount of love in a material relationship, just to give us some idea, like a mother for a small child, yes, or for the lover for the beloved. There is some pleasure experienced in doing something for the object of love. Yes? So, that concept actually originally comes from the spiritual platform. And the idea is, the Lord is so wonderful, and if you connect to the Lord in a mood of service, it is so wonderful and pleasing to serve Him. And when we serve Him, it will be with a pure motivation. We will experience such beautiful transcendental emotions and bliss in our own heart. So, if you are not experiencing that, that is basically because our service is not a haituki. A haituki means without motivation. As soon as motivation comes, some selfishness comes, the pleasure becomes blocked, the connection becomes blocked, the service becomes blocked. So the highest epitome of this kind of a service attitude is the gopis of Vrindavan, who continue to love and try to serve and remember Krishna even after Krishna left them. For 100 years, they are just waiting for Krishna. That is the prayer of Srimati Radharani. Ashlishyava padaratam tirastumam adarshanaad madmahatam karotuva yada kadava vidhatu lampato mat prananathastu sa eva naparaha. O Lord, you are my master in all situations, all circumstances. Whether you give your darshan to me or you don't give your darshan to me or you neglect me in all situations, I am your servant. Because I am not expecting anything from you. I simply want to serve you. And what is my remuneration? What is the remuneration? There is no other remuneration other than you giving me the opportunity to serve you. That's all. Because to serve you itself is a gift to me. You understand? You are served by Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi is pressing your feet. Do you think it's a cheap job? Why is Lakshmi pressing feet? Is she in need of money? Is she expecting salary? She is expecting such a transcendental pleasure. And do you think she will give that position up for you? So if Krishna is giving us an opportunity to serve Him in various in this world, actually Krishna is doing us a favor. So the devotee thinks, thank you, Lord, you are giving me an opportunity to serve you. And through that service, I am able to connect to you and experience a higher pleasure. So the mood of a devotee is that he is not wanting something in return for the service. He is fully satisfied by getting the opportunity to serve, and in return he wants more service. So I did this job nicely. What is the reward? Tomorrow I want to do twice the amount of time I want to press your feet, for example. So that is the continuous aspiration of the devotee. Okay, anyway, so this is the key point we should all remember. that in pure devotional service, the devotee is not expecting another outcome other than serving the Lord. And this is the key difference that the path of pure bhakti has from all the other paths of yoga. This is also very important to understand. The path of pure bhakti which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to preach is essentially different from all other paths, that all other paths go to God for bhukti, mukti and siddhi. Bhukti means, oh God, make my life in this world comfortable and happy. Mukti means, I am so tired of this world, give me liberation from all miseries. And siddhi, give me these powers, these mystic powers, these perfections. Bhukti, mukti and siddhi. But all these candidates who approach the Lord with desires for bhakti, mukti and siddhi, they are actually unable to get the full benefit of connecting with the Lord. Why? Because the mercy of the Lord, they obstruct with their own material motivation. So they are unable to connect properly. The connection happens when one opens one's heart to serve the Lord without any expectation in return. And when one does that, one actually connects to the Lord in a very beautiful way, which actually results in the blossoming of the soul, blossoming of consciousness. A beautiful, pleasant experience for the soul. And that experience is so sweet and deep that it fully satisfies the soul. And when the soul is being bathed in that mercy of that experience of serving the Lord in that way, the consciousness that he experiences is that this state of serving the Lord itself is so wonderful and perfect. There's nothing else to aspire for. There's nothing else to aspire for. There's nothing that I want from this. I just want to be doing this. You understand? That is the state of a Shuddha Bhakta. But others, they think they are not interested in the seva itself, they are interested from the result of the seva. Okay, this is a very, very important point. Please do not forget this. If you want to advance on the path of bhakti, you should be very clear about this point. Okay? As long as you approach the Lord by doing service for something, actually we are shortchanging ourselves. You understand? Shortchanging means you could have got so much more. You settled for something small. Like Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw Lord Vishnu in front of him, he felt so embarrassed. He said, oh Lord, you are so great, you can give me pure devotional service, but I am so foolish. I actually approached you not for that, I approached you for a trivial kingdom in this material world. You are like a diamond, but I was looking for broken pieces of glass. So please forgive me and grant me pure devotion to you. So that is what those who are very exalted souls, they aspire, because that kind of devotion is what will fully satisfy the heart. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavad, in the conversation between Narad Muni and Vyasadeva, when Narad Muni asked Vyasadeva, are you happy? He says, I am not happy. He says, why are you not happy? You have written so much about yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, so many Karma Kanda, so many things you have written. He says, yeah, I wrote all that, I wrote about God also, but I am not feeling so satisfied in my heart. So please diagnose my problem. So the diagnosis given was, it is because you have not sufficiently glorified the Lord and His activities in pure devotional service. Because only pure devotional service can fully satisfy the heart. Yena Atma Suprasidati. Very, very useful. Okay? So if you forget everything else, but if you only remember this one thing, That's all you need to remember. You forget everything in the 18th chapter, you forget all the instructions in NOI, everything you forget. But don't forget this key point, which is our key guiding principle in our journey towards our own perfection of consciousness, is that we should approach and connect the Lord in a mood of service without any motivation. That alone can bestow on us the highest experience of spiritual ecstasy. The greatest example of this are the gopis. And when you have that, all other things are immaterial. It doesn't matter how great you are, how powerful you are, how rich you are, how beautiful you are. It can be as simple as Shabri, as simple as the gopis of Vrindavan. No education matters, no power matters, nor does it matter what big things or feats you can do. No. Krishna melts just by seeing that pure devotion. Okay? So we move to verse number 5. Verse number 5, we'll read quickly first. कृष्णेति यस्य गिरि तम मनसाद्रियेत दीक्षास्ति चेत प्रणतिभिश्च भजन्तम ईशम शुश्रूषया भजन विज्ञाम अनन्यम अन्यनिंदति शून्य हृदम इप्सित संगलभ्या. This is verse number 5. Very beautiful. Translation. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So in the previous verse, Rupa Goswami explains how one should build relationship with devotees. Yeah? Dadati pratigranati guhyam akhyati pruchati punte bhojate chaiva shadvi priti lakshanam. The 6 loving exchanges between devotees, the catalyst. Now he is giving a bit more refined understanding that while in general these principles are true, when we associate with devotees, there is some consideration of how one should associate with devotees based on their level. How we should treat them based on their level. So, if a person is chanting the name of Krishna, if you see him, you should treat him with respect. You should appreciate him. Mentally honor, at least mentally honor. Oh, here is a person who is chanting Krishna's name. So you appreciate, oh yes. And you can make out that person, stand that person out of the common masses. Yes, this person appreciates the Lord and he chants the name of the Lord. But if somebody has progressed to the point of actually taking shelter of a spiritual master, taking initiation and seriously practicing devotional service, then Rupa Goswami recommends that one should offer obeisances to such a person when you meet him. In that way, you will get spiritual advancement. Okay? Obeisances means like we offer the Panchanga Pranam. One should offer obeisances. And if a person is actually very advanced, not just initiated, but very advanced in spiritual consciousness, and what does that very advanced mean? The very advanced means his heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. We briefly discussed this last time. While so many other symptoms of advancement may be mocked or made up, but this is one area you will see in a person who is genuinely advanced. He is not actually interested in criticizing anybody. Even though there are so many faults, he is not bothered. Not bothered meaning that not that he is foolishly, ignorantly or carelessly ignoring them, but he is not interested in criticizing anybody. He is like this, he is like that, why he should be like this, he should do like this, I am better than him, he is better than him. All this comparing, criticism, what are the 3 C? We discussed in Port Dixon. Comparison, complaining and criticism, is it? Yeah. Okay. So he is not interested. His heart is fully devoid of the propensity to criticize others. If you come across such a soul, then you should not just offer obeisances, but you should actually serve him. Humbly. Uski seva karo. Why? By serving the great souls. By them being favorably disposed towards you, you will be given the gift of bhakti. Just by the well wishes of the great devotees, we will be granted the gift of bhakti. That is why the opportunity to serve those who are very advanced in spiritual consciousness is considered a very, very great blessing. It is not easy to get. It's a very, very rare gift by the Lord. So if one is blessed with such an opportunity, one should consider himself very, very fortunate. One is so fortunate that great souls are actually directly instructing us and requesting us to do something. And one should consider one is very, very fortunate. In this world, when somebody tells us to do something, we say, what a headache. Why he is giving me work to do? In the spiritual life, if a great soul gives us an instruction or gives us an opportunity to serve, it is actually a very great blessing. He is actually giving us the means by which we can make spiritual advancement. Okay? So, in simple words, these 3 levels of devotees, one who is appreciating the Lord and chanting His name, at least occasionally, is called a Kanishta Adhikari. Kanishta means a neophyte. He has just begun his devotional service. But he may not be fixed in it. But a person who has actually taken initiation from a spiritual master and seriously practicing the principles of devotion is considered a Madhyama Adhikari, a person who is at the middle level of devotional practice, Madhyama. He is considered very fortunate. And the highest, the Uttama Adhikari, the topmost level, who is so purified, and he is considered extremely, extremely fortunate. One should actually aspire to associate with such a person. Any contact with such a great soul will give us very great benefit. So it is very important to understand the levels of devotees by this consideration so that one can deal with them properly. You will say, oh, why not why does one need to do this discrimination? It's not about discrimination, it is about intelligently dealing with devotees at different levels. If a person is actually a neophyte and you go and fall at his feet, Prabhu, you are so great, I offer my humble obeisances to you. What will happen? Why one should offer obeisances to a person who has taken a rickshaw? What will happen to a person if you offer obeisances to Is there a problem? What do you think? Hemant Prabhu, what is the problem? Say a person is neophyte. Neophyte means sometimes he chants Krishna's name, but he is not yet fixed in the process of devotion. Maybe he comes to temple, occasionally wears dhoti kurta, puts a pillar. Why it is said one should mentally honor him rather than saying that one should offer him obeisances? What do you think? Of course, at a very external level, one can say yes, because he is not so advanced. I should offer him obeisances. Yeah, that is also correct. But is there a deeper reason? Anybody wants to try? Any attempts? Okay, I will give the answer. The reason is very simple. If an initiated devotee or a serious devotee who is at a higher platform offers obeisances to a person at a lower platform, okay, and the person who is at the lower platform accepts those obeisances, thinking himself to be great, then he is doomed. You understand? Yes? Just think about it. If somebody is senior to you, you pay him respects and he gives you blessing. Okay, if the position gets reversed, is it good or is it bad? It is not bad for the person who is offering respect, because that is never a fault. Offering respect to others is never a fault. But if you accept respect when you are not in the position of accepting respect, you are actually creating a dangerous situation for yourself. Okay. Let's say, for example, now here we have elderly devotees also. They are parents of a devotee. So let's say their son, when he is very new in Krishna consciousness, he thinks I am very advanced. Okay. And he is not like that. I am just making up the story. He thinks he is very advanced. I am Krishna's devotee. And my parents are not devotees. Okay. So, and his parents think, oh, my son is a great devotee. And out of humility, they go and touch his feet. Okay. And he thinks, yes, yes, I am such a great devotee, I should bless my parents. You understand? He'll be doomed. This is nonsense. You cannot do like this. So a person who is not evolved in spiritual understanding, if you give him undue respect, he will mess it up. Either he will become proud or he will do Maryada Vyatikram, and he will create actually a very dangerous situation for himself. So one does not over-respect a person who has not yet reached that level where he can reciprocate properly. You understand? Okay, so that is one reason. If a devotee is actually mature in their understanding, if an equal or a more senior person offers respect, he immediately will also reciprocate by offering respect. In that way, there is no fault. Yes, you understand? Sometimes out of humility, maybe a sannyasi may offer pranam to the devotees. But then the devotees quickly also offer pranam. Saying, no, you should not offer respect to us, we should be offering respect to you. Understand? So even that requires a level of maturity and understanding. Okay, you understand? So while devotees of the Lord are great and powerful and we should associate with them, they are also like fire. If you don't deal with the fire carefully, you will end up burning yourself. You understand? Not that the devotee will do something, but you may end up committing offense. Yes? Okay. Any questions so far? So one should gradually progress to a higher and higher level of devotional consciousness. Please read the purport. There are a lot of beautiful explanations and beautiful verses also. So in the purport there is a beautiful definition of Diksha. What is Diksha means initiation. What is the meaning of Diksha? So we'll ask Diksha, what is the meaning of Diksha? So the definition of Diksha is given by Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha. Jiva Goswami says, Divyam Jnanam Tato Dadyat Kuryat Papasya Samshayam Tasmat Diksheti Saproktaha Deshikai Tattva Kovidaihi. That intelligent, learned people, they describe Diksha or initiation as the process through which one destroys one's sins and sinful tendencies and develops in transcendental knowledge. So Diksha is the process of purification, and it begins when the disciple accepts the Guru and the Guru accepts the disciple and gives him instruction. That is the beginning of the process. And then one gradually destroys his sins and achieves elevation. And at the time of initiation, if the disciple surrenders to the spiritual master fully, the spiritual master takes full responsibility of the disciple and immediately delivers him from all sins. Instant. Okay? So that is why surrendering to the spiritual master is considered a very important member of devotional service. So what kind of a person should one look for as one spiritual master? The right thing is Uttam Adhikari. Yes, a person who is at the highest level of devotion. Technically, the Madhyam Adhikari is also qualified to give initiation. Technically. But then because he has not yet reached a perfect state of consciousness, his guidance will not be as effective as a person who is actually transcended and become fully purified. Okay? Sixth verse. I'll read the translation. This is another aspect of dealing with devotees. To not look at devotees from an external material level. The translation goes as follows. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee as having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee, but despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the Ganges, like the water of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam and mud. The Ganges water do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. Okay. I'll first talk about Ganges, then I'll talk about the example. So some people, when I was in college, engineering college, at that time I had started practicing devotional service. This was in the year 93-94. So at that time I was speaking to somebody, and one of those students was a junior to me in the college. So I was speaking about Ganges. I don't remember the detail of the conversation, but he told me that he's from Varanasi. I said, "Oh, you're from Varanasi. The Ganga flows to the Varanasi. Wow, you're so fortunate." He said, no, I never have entered into the Ganga so dirty. So can you imagine, he's staying in Varanasi. He has never even once taken a dip in the Ganga. So the scriptures say that in Kali Yuga, these holy places and holy rivers are especially appear dirty so that materialistic minded men do not deposit their sins into the river. It is especially done like that to resist them. So those of with spiritual consciousness, they always see that Ganga, whether it's muddy or what is it there, or the Yamuna, it is never contaminated from a spiritual perspective. Of course, materially there may be contaminants. So one has to be careful while drinking it, put a drop or whatever. But from a spiritual perspective, the potency of the river is never reduced. Okay? So whatever it is, wherever you are in Ganga, Yamuna, you should take a dip without any consideration. So that will show you your faith, even if the water looks absolutely muddy and dark. How many of you have taken dip in Ganga and Yamuna? Yes. So please remember this. Even if it externally appears whatever, you should take a dip. So similarly, the scriptures are saying, a person who is very elevated in spiritual consciousness, sometimes externally he may not appear to be very beautiful, not a good complexion, he may externally seem to have a disease, may have a handicap, may have some conditions which may make us, externally it may seem that he is not such a aristocratic great person. But these considerations should never be used in evaluating a great personality. Those who are mature in spiritual understanding look at the consciousness, and when they understand that somebody is a great soul, they seek their association independent of all external considerations. Because what do we want? We want a person with a pure heart. A person who loves the Lord with his full heart and who is devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Such persons we should take association because they are overflowing with bhakti. And if you come in contact with them, you will be bathed with the bhakti that is flowing from them. Sometimes when we are in the association of such great souls, even when we practice any simple devotional activities also, we experience very beautiful energy of spiritual pleasure. Just by being in their aura, in their presence. I've experienced this many times. In their presence, all spiritual activities in their presence become so easy because their devotional energy is so strong. And it feels so nice to do certain things, but when you are on your own, it seems so much more difficult. So the moral is, do not apply material external considerations to a devotee. Sometimes some people say, oh, this devotee is not from India, he is from US. He is a white-bodied person. No such consideration applies. Yes. Prahlad was from the family of the Daityas. He is considered the topmost devotee. He was the son of the topmost demon in the universe. Because he who is properly engaged in pure devotional service immediately transcends the three modes and goes beyond. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Mam cha yo abhyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunana samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Engaging in devotional service to the Lord, one transcends one's material condition. Next verse, now he has described so far about devotees and how to deal with devotees. Last 4 verses. Yes, very important. Yeah, can we recap quickly? What he talks about devotees. First thing is, he says, association of devotees is extremely important. Yes? And one must develop loving relationships with them. How? Through the 6 mechanisms. Dadati Pratigrinadi, giving and accepting gifts, revealing one's heart and hearing their heart in confidence, and feeding prasad to them, accepting prasad from them. In this way you can develop loving relationships. While this is the general principle, one must also deal with devotees at different levels in different ways. One must show different levels of respect. For the neophyte, one honors in the mind. For a person who is initiated, one offers dandavat. And for a person who is very exalted, not only one offers dandavat, one tries to render service. Yes. And then it cautions us, when evaluating great souls, do not put material considerations. And do not say, oh, he is so dark colored. I don't like him so much. Oh, see, this person is so fair and beautiful. He must be a better devotee. Not necessarily. Sometimes we get too much carried away by the external charisma of a person. Oh, he speaks so nicely. Of course, these are good skills which can be used in the Lord's service, but these by themselves are not the barometers of spiritual purity. Oh, he looks so beautiful. His dhoti is so nice. The way he walks is so beautiful. All that is nice. But that by itself is not the barometer of spiritual advancement. If you see a person is very attached to Krishna, how you will understand a person is very attached to Krishna? This thermometer you can put in his mouth. Let me check his spiritual temperature. If it was there, it would be nice, no? I remember one devotee, he is also a doctor practicing. He is a medical doctor, but he practices alternate medicine. So he was into many of these alternate therapies and other things. So this is almost 18-19 year ago story. Very nice devotee. So he had practice something by which he could measure the aura of devotees. So he would go and measure and he would say, your aura is so much, your aura is so much. And then he would measure some connection that your connection is this much big only, yours is this big. So he would try to measure convert that into spiritual advancement. So maybe, but that may not always be, but that may not always be the fully reliable means also. But normally, in a normal course, how will we understand who is spiritually advanced? How will you judge? Based on dress? Based on consciousness. So by which meter you measure the consciousness? You're on the right track, yes, you're on the right track, but externally how will you know?
Whatever he does in the name of Krishna, he will talk about Krishna. He will do whatever he does, he will give it to Krishna. In every action, he shows about the Lord.
So consciousness is reflected by one's words, one's activities. A person who is more Krishna conscious is always attached to speaking about Krishna. He is enthusiastic always to speak about Krishna. You speak about other things, you bring the topic back to Krishna. You change the topic also, you bring it back. He is not interested in other subjects. One is always interested in every opportunity to serve Krishna. It's an opportunity to attend a class, he'll go enthusiastic. It's an opportunity to serve, he'll go enthusiastic. So all these are indications. So person who is always engaged or enthused always to engage in Krishna's service, one can understand that he is much more evolved in spiritual consciousness. The more one is addicted to Krishna, the more one is spiritually advanced. I think this is a very simple mechanism of understanding. Okay? Okay. So this verse, you just read this verse and then we'll end. It's a very beautiful verse. This is a very direct instruction to all the sadhakas about how you can taste the sweetness of bhakti. Yes? All of you want to taste? 1 minute, I have to take this call. Hare Krishna. You come, we also come in the class. Okay? Okay, you come, Hare Krishna. So, this verse says, the holy name, character, pastimes and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. The name of Krishna is sweet like sugar candy, like condensed sugar. Are we tasting it sweet? Sometimes little bit, sometimes not. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. Very, very sweet example which Rupa Goswami gives. He says, Krishna's name, form, pastimes are very sweet. But you may say that is not my experience. So Rupa Goswami is saying, you don't have that experience because the problem is not in the sweet. The problem is in your tongue. Then he gives an example. He says, just like when a person has jaundice, any one of you has gone through jaundice any time in your life? No, I have gone through. Yeah. So when you have a jaundice condition, if you take anything sweet, what happens? It tastes bitter. Sweet tastes bitter. So you take sugar. Why the sugar is so bitter? Is the sugar bitter? Has the sugar changed because you have jaundice? Because of your jaundice condition, something which is naturally sweet is tasting bitter to you. So the problem is in your tongue, because your tongue is diseased with jaundice. So whenever consciousness is diseased with material infection, even though the Lord's name and pastimes are so sweet, sometimes we get repelled, or we are not able to sufficiently taste the sweetness because we are diseased in our consciousness. So what should one do? Should one keep it away? Rupa Goswami says, if you have jaundice, what should you do? The cure for jaundice is to go on taking sugarcane juice, even though it tastes bitter. Because by continuing to take sugarcane juice, gradually the jaundice will go away. And as the jaundice will slowly go away, the bitterness will slowly go away. And slowly you will be able to taste the sweetness of the sugarcane juice. Until finally the jaundice goes and you can enjoy the sugarcane juice with its full sweetness. Similarly, even though the holy name of the Lord and the pastimes of the Lord and the seva to the Lord may seem bitter initially, to chant. Even that one round seems so difficult. in the middle of that one round also 10 times you look at how many beads are remaining. And our happiness increases as the round is about to finish. And when it's finished, then Brahmananda. Done. So that is not what we mean by spiritual pleasure. So we have to understand that initially our experience may be like this, we may be unable to taste the holy name because of our jaundice condition, but one should understand this is a medicine that we have to take. So we take it as a medicine initially. So we take the medicine by carefully, attentively listening. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when we hear like that and take it as a medicine, attentively and respectfully hearing it, gradually Rupa Goswami says the name will act in our heart, remove the jaundice, and slowly we will be able to taste the sweetness. And this is the experience of all devotees. As they progress in Krishna consciousness, gradually their experience of pleasure in Krishna consciousness is gradually increasing. Sukham kartum apayam. So that which appeared distasteful initially, now is becoming slowly more tasty. Yes? That's why initially with difficulty one could do one round. Then after some time one is able to do 2. Then one is able to do 4. Why? That means the disease is getting cured, right? Otherwise, how are you able to do more? You may not be immediately getting into ecstasy, but at least the disease is reducing, the resistance is reducing, the distaste is reducing. And more higher levels of consciousness, one is actually able to relish in such a way that one doesn't want to stop. One wants to just go on. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ah, so nice, so tasty, so sweet. One will eventually come to the point of feeling it like that. If one begins to feel like that even occasionally, then that is a good symptom. To persistently have that taste means one has already achieved ruchi. It's a significantly higher level. But even occasionally to experience, so nice, feeling so nice. I just feel like just going on. I can feel in my heart a sweet taste as I am chanting the names of the Lord. If one is feeling like that even occasionally, that is very nice. Okay? Any questions or comments? So the moral of this verse is continue to chant. Don't think that, it is said that this is very sweet, but why I am not able to experience sweetness? That means the name has a problem. The problem is not the name, the problem is us. The next verse we will discuss next time. Anything else? Any other question? Any other comment? We'll just do, while the prasad is being served out, we'll just do 2 minutes kirtan quickly. So please read through the translation and purports. Lot of beautiful information. Initially, as we progress in Krishna consciousness, the taste may not come directly in chanting. Initially, the taste will be experienced in hearing. So if that is happening, that means you are making some progress. After that taste, you can start experiencing reading. Then taste will come in chanting. It follows that sequence typically. It's easier to develop taste in hearing than in reading than in chanting. Okay? So obviously all of you are here because you have some taste in hearing at least. But increase that. You must hanker to hear. Taste means you are hankering. Just like when somebody says gulab jam or rasgulla, then immediately one feels, today I must taste. Because the taste is aroused simply by hearing. In the same way, a devotee, when he hears something about the Lord, his taste to hear more about the Lord is awakened. Somebody speaks something about Bhagavatam. Yes, I haven't heard Bhagavatam. Let me hear something. And that hearing will give so much pleasure to the heart. But then somebody tells you, read. I want to hear. Reading is painful. Because hearing is passive, no? Reading is more active. So there is more repulsion in the mind. So then gradually as one becomes more purified, one is able to relish reading. Hearing of course is enjoyable, continues to be enjoyable. But reading also becomes enjoyable. But somebody says, do you prefer to read or do you want to chant Hare Krishna? No, I prefer to read. But chanting is the most intense. Because proper chanting is the most intense. Because in chanting one's full consciousness is supposed to be absorbed. So if you can feel, you should come to the point when you get up in the morning, the first thing you think is, where are my beads? I want to taste the nectar of the holy name. Your hands are itching. When I will quickly take my shower and my hand will go in the bead bag and I will taste the nectar of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. That kind of lauryam greed. Of course, it's very difficult to get consistently, but even if some days one can get, that is good progress. Okay? So these are all pointers for you to evaluate your own progress. But even if you don't have any of these three, no need to worry. Rupa Goswami says the medicine continue to take. Don't stop taking medicine. If you stop taking medicine, nothing is going to happen. Your progress will stop. So continue to take the medicine. And the medicine is taken by continuing to hear, chant, read, serve. Yes? Okay. So as the prasad is distributed, just quickly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, beginning Prabhupada mentions in the purport of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when he says that if you chant properly with the right consciousness, how do you understand? He says when you connect to the transcendental platform and you are able to connect to the Lord in the chanting of the holy name, the immediate symptom is you immediately feel an urge to dance. When you actually connect to the holy name, dance is not that you have to dance like this. You will feel a sudden irresistible urge. You will just be chanting like this. You will just suddenly feel an irresistible urge to just stand up and start jumping. Okay? Prabhupada actually describes this. If you read the famous Mahamantra purport that he speaks, this is an irresistible urge to chant, urge to dance. Okay? So this is very real. So I'm just giving you tips. So then you will know you have connected at a deeper level. It's not that if it's not happening that you're not connecting at all and you're not getting any benefit. It is not like that. But this is when you actually connect to the transcendental platform, this is the experience you'll get. And it happens occasionally, then you can understand. Sometimes devotees get the urge but they'll just control, they'll not jump, they'll suddenly appear. So when that happens, they will just stop, because if they continue chanting, it will become uncontrollable. Of course, when you are alone, you can jump. Nobody is there to look at you. So these are all indicators by which we can understand. So this whole Krishna consciousness is a very beautiful science. It is not something so abstract that one cannot actually experience anything. Okay, so thank you very much. Srimad Gita of Srimad Bhagavatam ki